And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and I want to go over Tier 7 of the C3PO event. Now, there are 3 ways that you can win the Tier 7 C3PO event, and that is going to be, first, you're going to overgear your characters. That's the way most people do it. They just keep throwing gear at it until they have the characters high enough that they can just, through brute strength and force, get through the event. There's a lot of damage that is dealt, and even if they know the strategy, if they don't have their mods right, they just have to keep upping the gear. That's a valid strategy. A lot of people do that. The second strategy is speed. Now, these characters all of them give a bunch of additional turn meter to the team with certain abilities, and if you can get your speeds in excess of 100 on all of the characters, you're going to take so many turns, 2 to 3 times as many turns as the opponent. You're going to be able to whittle them down twice as fast, which is going to help kind of compensate for that gear. Meaning, if you have really phenomenal mods, you're going to be able to lower that amount of gear. Now, you still need the strategy behind it, because without the strategy, even with good mods, you're going to lose. And then lastly, the third way to do it is to cheat. If you hear anyone that's missing the gear, but has the mods, then they may have done it right. If they have the gear but no mods, then they've probably done it right. But if they don't have the gear and they don't have the mods, then they've probably cheated. You're going to need, at a minimum, gear 9 and above for your characters, and I have not seen anyone do it with less than gear 9 characters. With gear 9, there's only one video on YouTube that shows that, and that individual has plus 105 average speeds on all the characters. Now, the issue with that is the majority of players, including free-to-play players, could get, for an event, about 80 speed average on their characters. And I know this because on my Scissorman account, I was able to remod my team with decent mods, and my average speed was 81.8 on all 5 characters. Some had 60, some had 70, some had 80, and I had one, Poplu, I was able to get around 100, and that was my absolute best mods. But my average speed for all of them was around 80. Now, the individual on the internet who has that video, like I said, had basically for free to play god tier mods on that account. And if you've got a new free to play account, which most people attempting this event have, you're not going to have 100 plus speed. So what does this mean? Well, what this means is you need to put at least 80 plus speed on each character, and you really should be shooting for a gear 10 minimum. Now, my characters were 7-star, level 85, and gear 10. I didn't have all of their Omegas. I was missing a couple of the basics and one special on low grade, but for the most part, I had the majority of their abilities. And because of the lack of gear and because of the lack of speed, I was missing both components. You got to have one or the other. So this took, I actually got a hold of Eric. He's known as Thor on the Discord, and he is one of the developers. And I asked him, how many attempts did I take at tier 7? Because I spent all day yesterday trying to get it with gear 10 characters and an average of 80 plus speed. There is no video on earth that shows gear 10 with only 80 speed. Everything has, like I said, plus 100 plus speed. And I thought, I don't even know if this is possible. Now, what happens is you've got to know your strategy, and then you've got to have your basic precepts. So get your gear to gear 10 or above with 80 plus speed, or get your speed over 100, and then that will compensate, and you can do it potentially at gear 9. And then if you have speeds lower than 80, you're going to have to take your gear up. Basically, your speed differential and gear differential are going to be what you're looking at. This is to determine whether you can even go into the event and compete. So for anyone that says, like I said out there, that they've got, average of 60 speed on theirs and they did it at gear 8, they definitely used a cheat, because there's no way that that's physically possible. The characters are going to take enough turns and do enough damage that you will never be able to get through it. Now, I want to show you what a good run is versus what a bad run is, because sometimes when you start, the run is just bad from the beginning, and you have to know what to look for to know whether you want to try to attempt this play run. Now, like I said, Thor told me that I had 178 attempts and the majority were exited within the first 15 seconds. What does this mean? Well, this means that I went into the battle, did their thing, and after everything was said and done, before I took a turn, you see what you see here, which is nobody's been touched. Everybody is super buffed. They have full health and protection. And look at my team. 2 characters are already missing, and 2 of them are debuffed, and 1 of them is stunned. This is terrifying because there's no way that you can win when this is your opening salvo. Now, I would say out of 10 attempts where you just go in, select it, and then this happens, out of 10, 1 will be a chance that you'll be able to actually attempt. What you need to see is, if you notice on this, the R2-D2 has spun and put stealth on everyone. Now, he obviously missed Chewie. This happens from time to time. And the tank's taunting, which is what happens when everyone goes stealth and he uses his ability. He taunts, he comes out of stealth. So with that, this is what you want to see on the other side. You want to see R2-D2 use his ability. You want to see it miss, stealthing Chewie, and you want to be able to go after that. Now, this is a bad run because I've lost 2 of my 5 characters and 2 more are about to die. This right here is a definite loss. Now, this is the exact same thing. This was one of, many attempts, and same thing, R2-D2 spins. Before you ever get a turn, R2-D2 spins, puts everyone into stealth, but he missed Chewie. And so because he missed Chewie, you can target Chewie as long as you're able to dispel the tank. So that's kind of the thing. The other thing is, if you notice, the damage was spread throughout my team, and I've lost nobody. I have virtually all health on all of my characters. This is really important because you need all 5 characters to get it going. Now, keep in mind, again, you need over 100 speed on all characters, or you're going to need at least 80 speed on all of your characters and around gear 10. That's where I'm going to tell everybody, free to play, you should be able to get 80 plus speed, or an average of 80 speed on each character, and to gear 10, and you should be able to do this. Now, keep in mind, this took 178 attempts. Confirmed by the developers, 178. That's a lot of attempts, you guys. Felt like 1,000, I'll be completely honest. But this is the opening salvo you want to see. They take all their turns, they're ready to go, and all your characters survive, and Chewie is not stealth. Now what I want to do is go through the actual run so you can see exactly how I go through this. Now, the problem with it is I did 178 attempts, with the vast majority being resets. But there's been a few times where this is the exact setup I got, and you start recording and you try and kill Chewie and you don't even get all of his protection off and you die, and then you got to delete the recording and go and delete the recording and go. So I did this over and over until I had Chewie down. Once I had Chewie down, I would record. I still had to delete about 5 recordings, but I got to that point where I had Chewie down. This was my opening salvo, and I'll show you right now. We'll go through it together. Okay, so this was after the opening salvo. They left Chewie unstealthed, and I had all my characters survive. I dispelled the tank with Poplu's basic. I used Wicket to call an assist on Poplu to dispel the tank. We went over to Chewie and we did all of our specials on Chewie and took him down. So he has been submitted. Now we're moving over to Han. I realized at this point, I actually might win this run. This was one of the many runs. It looked very similar to, I had 3 or 4 other runs like this where I was able to get Chewie down. The problem was the damage output is still so significant that it is very difficult. One of the things you'll notice on this run is after Chewie's dead, I am able to really daze a bunch of people. And the thing is you have to go for Chewie first. The reason is he puts guard on a couple of characters. Those characters can't be critically hit and they can't be dazed. That's a really big problem. So you do have to ultimately go for him. Plus, he's the largest damage dealer because he's called to assist multiple times doing that health percentage damage. So it is a problem. Speaking of health percentage damage, it is much better to go with primary stats of protection versus health. And the reason for that is if your health pool is smaller, Chewie's bonus damage is going to be smaller, and you want to try to reduce that as much. Plus, it's easier to get a larger pool of protection at lower gear levels than it is to get a large pool of health. So there's a mod tip for you guys. Now we're going to go ahead and kind of walk through this so you can kind of see where I'm at and how it works. And I'll be honest, I end with all 5, but this was dicey, this run. So we're going to go ahead and start. I go a basic. I don't really like to taunt with Poplu, and you want to try and get damage, and he counters, or he takes his turn. I do a basic. That basic was for 16K. That special was 19K. So we've got 2 submitted, and I'm like, you know what? The tank's going to taunt. We just have to get rid of this commando. So we start going after the commando. A lot of people will say R2-D2 next, but R2-D2 takes forever to chew through. So we just keep working away. We're going to throw that. That throw gives everybody turn meter, so that's why we want to use that. And then we're going to use a basic. Another basic. Poplu has to stay alive, you guys. If Poplu dies like my Poplu died, you don't have a dispel, and you have to have the dispel to be able to target who you want to target, because the commando, anytime somebody goes under 100% health, he's going to taunt, and you're going to have to dispel. You have a dispel with Logray, with the days, but you also have the dispel with Poplu on his basic, and you need to save those dispels for when the commando taunts, especially when you want to go back and finish Chewie off, or when you want to go back and kill Han Solo. So we're going to keep going. We're going to use basic, and I want you to also keep in mind that our Elder, the healer, has the ability. We're going to do a mass attack. Again, I lose another. We're going to stealth our Elder, because if we're going to lose somebody, we want to lose anyone but our Elder, and a Wicket is our damage dealer. We're going to do more turn meter. Now I use the revive, and the revive brings back Poplu, which is awesome. We take the turn meter away and the buffs away from R2-D2 to try to delay the inevitable. And we're going to go ahead and do a mass attack. Now, that was a taunt. I didn't really want to do that, but I wanted to ensure he went down and died. And that attack that forces him to taunt actually does more damage than his basic. And I can see that R2-D2 is about to take a turn. I didn't really want my Poplu, like I said, to taunt, but that was just to ensure. Now, I've gotten to here where Chewie was dead, Han is dead, and the commando was dead. About 4 or 5 times, and then it went downhill from here. You can see it's really dicey. I've got one guy almost dead, another guy dead, and you're going to see I'm going to keep losing individuals, but Elder is really key. So now we're going to go after R2. We're going to do the heal. Use those specials. They add bunches of things like Retribution. They add your Foresight so they miss you. We're going to always stealth our Elder. You notice with that call to assist with Wicket, we're always going to call to assist. Another basic with dispel, or that was Logray's, not Poplu's. As soon as Poplu goes, we're going to do another turn meter basic. We're going to call to assist Elder, keep him under stealth. A basic, come on Poplu here, we'll dispel, and it missed, so we're going to dispel with that. We dazed everybody. We're just going to keep whittling R2-D2 away. We've now down to 3 individuals with very little health pools. This is really, really dicey. They hit him. That could have stunned. We're going to do a cleanse. Now, I want you to see this. Your cleanse can also bring people back to life. That's a percentage chance. And so lucky with that on this. And, you know, the stuns, like I just lost him again. And this happened a lot where I would call the assists and then they would counter, and R2-D2 would end up stunning and destroying my guys, and you just lose people. The fact that I haven't lost all of my people yet is pretty amazing. Like I said, I did this 178 times. We'll get more turn meter with this. We're just going to keep whittling them away. We're going to use that heal or restoration. It brings back another individual. It brought back the person I didn't want, which was Chirpa. I really wanted Poplu, but that's okay. We're going to do basic. We're going to do basic, 17K on basic. That's pretty good. They're all stealth, so you can choose whoever. I was deciding who I wanted to remove buffs from, but I'm like, you know what? R2's the biggest threat, so we get rid of that. We daze them all. Another basic, another basic. We're going to call to assist and get Elder under stealth. We're going to get more turn meter, another basic, another basic. And I could have, I'm going to pause, I could have done a cleanse, which possibly brought back a 5th person. But at this point, R2-D2's in the red. I really want to kill R2-D2 and then use that cleanse afterwards. So there we go. We have him down. Now we're going to call to assist Elder to put Elder under stealth. Basic. Use your special. We're going to do the heal, and the cleanse heal brought back Poplu. So really good RNG on this run. I've done it where it didn't bring anyone back. So we're just going to use a basic. Actually, I used my taunt, which is to his demise. He ends up taking it. Now, the reason why I used my taunt sometimes near the end was because I was trying to do finishing damage to the character, as much damage as possible. You get kind of desperate when you're losing. And this, I mean, this is 16K. This is a one-shot on any of my characters. So if I hadn't have taunted, he could have one-shot one of my other characters like Logray. So anyway, we're going to keep working because this is the damage dealer. We're going to do the removal in days, but we're going to go ahead and do this on Leia. And she resisted it, and we're almost done. There we go. Now at this point, we can just go into auto battle. The thing is, I manually played it because I wanted to be able to restore everybody, bring everyone back to life, buff them out, trick them out, get them back to full health, and do this. So this was my run. You can see how dicey it was, even at gear 10 with 80 plus speed on every character average, 81.8 average speed on my characters with gear 10. If, like I said, if you have plus 100 speed, you might get away with less gear. If you have, lower than 80 speed, you're going to have to go up with your gear, and to remove the RNG chance, you're going to need to go up in gear. But this is very possible at gear 10 with 80 plus speed on all your characters, as I did it right here. Pretty excited to do this. If you guys have any questions about kill order or anything like that, make sure you guys, hit me up in the comment section. I'm happy to walk you guys through this. I have the other video I made yesterday, which showcases the tiers 5 and 6. It talks about kill order and everything like that as well. But I wanted to go through how free-to-play are going to get that 7-star Wicket or C3PO. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to have gear 10 with 80 plus speed and a lot of restarts. Remember, 178 attempts yesterday alone for me to accomplish this. As always, I'm glad I'm able to help. If you have questions, leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.